What's up, everybody? It is time for NFL Championship Weekend. Well, it's tomorrow on Sunday. This is Saturday morning. I'm Tony Lane of the Dude Network, and as always during this, I say always, for the last couple weeks, and it has not changed throughout the rest of the playoffs, our special co-host, we're lucky to have him. No clue why he's doing it. We got Reflog, Chris McNeil of the Big Play Network and of the Reflog brand. How are you doing, sir? How's the weekend?
Kind of like the Detroit Lions over here, making my magical playoff run with you. This has been fun. I really enjoy kind of breaking down the games week to week with you. Unfortunately, our Browns left early, and we're kind of left with some teams that we might not be as passionate about, or in the case of the Ravens, are very much anti-Ravens. But nonetheless, it's been a lot of fun, my friend, and I'm looking forward to the games this weekend.
Yeah, and no, it's been good. At least we had good football, I feel. At least the wild card weekend was a lot of blowouts, and the Green Bay San Francisco game was really special. I thought that was a toe-to-toe game. Then also, Baker had down by 8. Was he going to make that one last push there on the last game? Before, and then obviously the Chiefs and the Bills game in Buffalo with the weather and everything.
I'll tell you a little bit about that Baker game too. There were a lot of people saying, "Oh, look, Browns fans, this is the Baker. This is the Baker you guys got rid of." Rah rah rah. And I saw it. I did it myself. There were a lot of other people saying, "Just wait, just wait, just wait. It's not going to happen." I know you're all excited. I understand. I know Baker mania. I know it better than anyone else. I understand how excited you are right now. There will be a letdown, and I'm going to tell you that's going to happen today. And it did. Now he did come back, and I give a lot of kudos to Baker. And I don't hold any grudges against Baker Mayfield, but the fans, they're just like us. They get really up on this guy, and it's like, you just know that the other shoe's going to drop with the guy. And then that Buffalo game, I'll tell you what, wide right again. I feel for our brethren in Buffalo, man. That was so much fun, first of all, to watch. I saw it set some records. It was amazing. You had Jason Kelce jumping out of the Taylor Swift suite, drinking beers with the fans. He was doing the tailgate with the Bills fans before the game, really getting into it. The action on the field comes down to that field goal missed once again, a la Scott Norwood. Just unbelievable. I mean, the drama has been great. I hope that carries over to this week because you have kind of this tendency in the NFL playoffs where you'll have a grouping of really good games. You get really excited, kind of like Baker Mayfield, right? You get really excited, and then all of a sudden there's that inevitable letdown. Hopefully that's not what we're looking at this week as we look at these games.
No, and man, poor Buffalo fan. There's something. I'm just glad that one Lake Erie team is figuring it out because we would have been talking about the Lake Erie water yet again. But real quick, on that Tampa Bay game, the one thing that didn't make sense to me is going for 2 when you're down by 14. Get the PAT. Like, why put more pressure on your quarterback?
And I didn't understand it either. And they tried to kind of explain it on the broadcast and go into, the percentages that actually this makes sense. And even going through the percentages, I think that the math gets very, very grainy. It gets kind of fuzzy there. I don't understand it. I think you just go for it, kick the extra point. Don't take the extra pressure when you don't have to. I mean, this is the playoffs. I just don't understand.
Then you're just putting. Because if you don't get it, they're up by 8. But I would think like the other team would have a little bit more sense of lackadaisicalness and like less pressure on them if they're up by 8 instead of 7.
Yeah,
that means you get an extra chance for a good chance at a stop. So, Anyway, I thought that was. I thought that wasn't really a fair situation for Baker in that one. I was like, man, this guy is, trying to look for that signature moment in the playoffs, and then you're going to put him down by 8. It's like, man, I would have put him in a better spot than that. But anyway,
he's got a couple of W's under his belt. So kudos to Baker.
Here are last week's picks real quick.
What did we do?
Clean sweep for both of us on Saturday. Both went Baltimore, San Fran. And I hate to say it again, but Chris, we were tied again right here.
Wow.
We are both at 6-4 going into this one. So there's 3 games left, but we're also going to do, at this point, we're going to have to come up with a tiebreaker here
Well, we're
because
gonna have
I
to
have a
do
feeling
2 things. We're gonna have to come up with a tiebreaker, number 1, and number 2, we're gonna have to put something on the line because now, this kinda started as, "Oh, this is gonna be fun. Let's kinda track ourselves, maybe some bragging rights." Now, I'm kinda getting invested in this thing. If it's tied at this point, it's kinda like the NFL playoffs. You're rooting for the good games. This has become a good game, man. And on
and I
my
have a
side of the
feeling
ledger, I mean, I'm very Buffalo Bills-ish. So, I mean, I've got a history of, like, Scott Norwood's like, I've got a lot of that in my closet and not a lot of trophies. So, you're probably sitting in the catbird seat. I'm just gonna tell you that straight up. But I'm a riverboat gambler, so I'm all about this right now.
I was so bad as a kid in sports, I didn't even get participation trophies, man, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
We're sorry, Tony, we ran out. Here, have an extra orange slice.
You know what? You gave we'll just verbally tell you how awesome of a participator you were.
Here's a
Yeah,
pat on the back, son.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I participated in the participation trophy ceremony. But yeah, that would be that's brutal. So all right, first game here. Sunday, 3 o'clock Eastern time. It's the AFC Championship game. Pat
You know what
Mahomes
I
not
do
only had
have
to go
for
on
you?
the road once, he's going to have to do it twice. Big on the road victory from Holmes, doubting a lot of naysayers, in my opinion, with the whole. And I think you were one of them with his first game on the road, and I think you went with Buffalo in
I
that game
did.
for that reason, if my memory serves me correct. But
That was
he
a hard
showed he could do it. He showed he could do it. So now he's in Baltimore. I'm sorry, Buffalo fans are crazier than Baltimore fans. I don't think this is. I think this is an easier road game to play in. You're not going to have the harsh Lake Erie elements, and and I just think Baltimore fans are a little softer than Buffalo fans. You heard it here first. They're not jumping through tables. They're not cooking pizzas and filing cabinets. I mean, it's just not their thing. Hoity-toity crab cakes.
That's right. That's right. It's definitely a different feel when you go over there to Baltimore. It's going to be an interesting matchup. I feel that there's a lot of momentum, and I don't know whether it's because of the Taylor Swift, whether it's because we've just seen it so many times with Kansas City, with Andy Reid, with Patrick Mahomes, that there's so much momentum behind them. I see a lot of people who kind of think that Kansas City is going to come in here and take care of business in Baltimore. And I'll tell you, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum on this. I've seen the Ravens up close. I know that we've beaten the Ravens. That was Deshaun Watson's one good half of football that we've seen so far that we invested so heavily in. And that was our return so far. But what I saw with the Chiefs is I saw Josh Allen was able to throw the ball. He was also able to run the ball a little bit like he had done in that first game. And I think about what Jackson can do, what Lamar can do if Josh Allen was able to have that level of success. And I see the potential of the Ravens taking advantage, although the home field advantage is certainly not what it was in Buffalo. I see them taking advantage of that. And I see them beating Andy Reid, and I see them beating Kansas City, and I actually see them beating the spread in this one. I just see them as ripe right now. I wasn't particularly impressed by the victory for Kansas City last week. It was once again a great game, back and forth, missed, but it came down to a missed kick on the other side of the ledger for them to do it. And there wasn't anything particular that scares me about this team. And I see a well-rested Ravens team that's ready to pounce.
Yeah, so you're going with KC, you said? Or you're going with
I'm going with Baltimore. I'm going with
Baltimore?
Baltimore, and I'm
I'm
going
right
with
there.
Baltimore to cover. And you're going to
You-
agree with me on that because the way you were kind of going, I thought you were riding that Kansas City. I know that you
No,
just love the barbecue, you love the beef tips, you love everything out there when it comes to their food from Kansas City. But you're going to stop. You're going to get off of that train and you're going to go over to the crab cakes, huh?
I'm going over to Baltimore. The way you were wording it there at the start, I thought you kind of you're gearing your pick toward Kansas City, how like the easier home field advantage there. So I was like, all right, he's going KC here. I'm like, all right, we're going to be
No.
different. No,
No, no, no, no.
dude,
I was saying national guys. I think there's momentum like
yes,
nationally. People are saying
yes,
Kansas
okay,
City and just
I'm with you.
assuming the old storylines are going to hold true this week. And I go, I don't know. I think the Swift train may be coming into the station.
I Yeah, I'm with you there. I think Travis Kelce is single on Monday and without a Super Bowl ring this year
Oh,
or Super Bowl appearance. The contract relationship will come to an end. And speaking of
so the
conspiracies,
reverse feel-good movie. This is the
yeah,
exact opposite,
yeah,
where
this
the
is
guy
Notebook
doesn't get
on
the
like
girl and he loses the game.
this is like Jose Canseco on full roids in the Notebook. I want total chaos, total fallout. So
They're just laying in bed together dead.
yeah. So, all right, we're both Baltimore. And okay, so the over under on this one here is 44 and a half. And I think that's low. Vegas must be expecting it's 49 degrees and no rain right now in Baltimore on Sunday. So I think 44 and a half is a very kind spread. It almost is like they're baiting you to take the over on that, which means I kind of like the under. And then Baltimore minus 3.5.
Don't pull a Kevin Stefanski sometime and overthink this one. I think you just go over. I think you just go over. The weather's going to be fine. I think we're going to see both offenses just kicking. So I would take that over all day long. And in fact, that's what I'm going to bet.
And you know what? And I'm with you too. Or you just don't bet it. If I think it's going to be under,
Right.
I don't play it because your bet could be over at halftime, like in a bad way. Where over, you can rebet and you can double dip. So on that one, and we got 6:30 NFC Championship. Our Lake Erie Warriors, the Detroit Lions,
Yeah.
12-5 this year, same as the 49ers, 12-5. They're going to be at San Francisco. San Francisco -7, over under 50.5. Brock Purdy having a brutal week in the national media. Is he the guy? I mean, I guess standards are high in San Francisco with Mr. Irrelevant, and you take your team to back-to-back NFC Championship games in your first 2 years. But as Cleveland fans, we don't know this problem very much. Of a quarterback that's overachieving but just not quite good enough. So, who you got in this one here? I think this is going to be a really tough game. Everyone's kind of waiting on Detroit to kind of fall back, but now Detroit doesn't have the home crowd. The home crowd lifted
Got to
them
go
for a
out to
lot,
San Francisco,
and now
where
they got
they
to go all the way
describe
out
San
to San
Francisco as chilly and just cold as heck when it's like 55 degrees, as they did last week. Now, there was some rain in that ball game, we also know, but they made a big deal out of how chilly it was while we were sitting in the single digits here in beautiful Ohio. So I did not have much of a I didn't feel for those folks out there in San Francisco, that's for sure.
No, not at all. That crowd was putrid and pathetic on Sundays, which you can make the case, how good's these Detroit fans going to overpay? How much of that, big three UAW pension money is going to get spent on some hotels and travel tickets this year? Some of these guys have been waiting their whole life for this day. So it'll be interesting to see how much blue sneaks in with that red. That'll be funny is that you'll easily be able to tell really quickly how many Lions fans, because I guarantee you they'll be wearing them powder blues.
I
Up
guarantee you're gonna have 2 fans there. You're gonna have the old guy who has been a season ticket holder for like 60 years or whatever it was that they keep highlighting, and then the son who was there, who was caught on camera crying after that first playoff win because he had lost his father. So I'll bet that those 2 are going to make the trip somehow, whether the NFL flies them out or whether they have to go on their own dime. I bet those guys are going to end up showing up there and being in
well
pretty
earned,
prominent seats.
well earned.
Yeah, absolutely,
So,
absolutely. But
so
no, in this game,
that's the
like you said,
breakdown. So, what are you thinking on this one, Chris?
so, you know, coming into it, my knee-jerk reaction is the 49ers are gonna roll in this game too. I'm really fearful of both of these games kind of getting out of control. I could see, like I said, in the first game, I could see the Ravens rolling, and in this game, I could see the Niners rolling. But I think there's just enough grit in this Detroit Lions team to keep it close. I think the spread is pretty high in this game. What did we have it
It's
at?
7
7
as of right now, and we're recording this as of Wednesday night. So if that changes drastically, don't yell at us.
That's a huge spread. That's a huge spread in the NFL and a big spread for a playoff game. And I don't think that San Francisco presents that much of a home field advantage that we have to worry about Detroit going all the way out to the coast to play there. I also think that Detroit has also, they're tested now. They're playoff tested. They're gritty. They've done it all season long. They've got a good offense. They can keep up with San Francisco. Christian McCaffrey scares the heck out of me. I think he is just a fantastic player. I had the opportunity to talk to Stump Mitchell this week, who
that
the
was a
Browns
great.
had
I mean, what a pull for
unceremoniously fired.
the Reflog show.
Yeah. So it was great, and he gave us some nuggets. Amongst those nuggets he was waxing poetic about Christian McCaffrey and just how good he is. And I said, is he really that good? And he said, it's just amazing what he can do, both running the ball and also catching the ball out of the backfield. He goes, that's what I envisioned for Nick Chubb, is really being that type of a back. He said, I think we can do so much more with Nick Chubb. For as fantastic and as unbelievable as Nick Chubb is, think about Nick Chubb if we're really using him more out of the backfield as well. He said he could have 1,000 yards receiving on top of all his rushing yards for.
Could you imagine?
And I'm just sitting there going, oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
It makes sense.
So,
I mean, look what he does to D linemen and linebackers. Could you imagine him getting out in secondary more consistently with one-on-ones with safeties and cornerbacks and nickelbacks? I mean, good Lord.
And that sounds like exactly what Stump was envisioning. And I'm sure now that the Browns have hired Deuce Staley, hopefully he continues that type of work and they continue that type of thinking. Not to get totally Browns on us, but with the changes,
it's the unbiased show, so we're just non-biasedly talking about other random
just
NFL
talking about
teams
things that happen, right?
in our Cleveland Brown studios.
That's exactly right. But anyway, he was waxing poetic about Christian McCaffrey, and rightfully so. He scares the heck out of me. Brock Purdy, I don't know why people are giving him so much crap, to be honest with you. You go from being kind of Cinderella story for 1 year to the next year, you start poking holes in the guy all over the place. And I think you don't need an all-world. They don't need to have Joe Montana. You don't have Joe Montana, but that's okay. That's okay in this case. You've got a quarterback who can get you to the big show, and I think he does that. I think that they don't cover, so I do like Detroit to beat the spread in this, but I like San Francisco ultimately to win this ball game.
Yeah, we're going to be tied.
Oh no! Did we both go the same way?
And I'm not doing it because I knew coming into this, I was going one seed. I was going. You can even on the one ticker down here. They have that conspiracy. It's 3 for 3 of the Super Bowl colors, and I'm like, I'm not straying from it till it's proven otherwise. So I'm going San Fran with you. We're both there now. I'm with you. I think Detroit covers the spread, and I do like the under in this, which means I wouldn't play it because I think 51. The weather here in San Francisco is it's probably going to be nice. 69. It's going to be 70 degrees in San Francisco.
70 degrees.
69. I rounded up.
Light jacket weather for San Francisco.
Oh, man, we're out there in shorts and a T-shirt, dude, after the last couple of weeks we've had.
I'm talking locals.
Detroit's going to be out there, no shirts, Daisy Dukes, nipples pierced, just ripping it, man. Just full send mode.
You'll have 49ers fans out there in those old starter pullover jackets.
I'm sitting there envisioning like all these like Detroit chicks out there discovering Napa country, just being wine wasted, just making sloppy choices in the crowd. Yeah,
that's what I'm going to be looking for now. Forget about the game. I'm going to be looking
for the kid who lost dad. I want to see failures at life. McNeil's switching it up too. I love it.
That's fantastic. I mean, there are brethren, aren't they? I mean, if Cleveland's out there, not that we'd be in the NFC, but if we're in a conference playoff and we're taking a trip, you're looking for how our fans travel. We know we travel in big groups. We saw what we did in Houston. I mean, we took it over there. So, and we also know how much fun we can have. So we'd be looking for our own wine-wasted chicks in the crowd. Of course, we don't have that many wine drinkers, to be honest, but I could see it in Detroit, like you say, when they discover Napa country.
Yeah, I'm looking for someone to stumble over sleeping, with their shades up on their head with one eye covered. We're going to put an over-under on that there, so we might have to get a hold of some odds makers. And I'm curious on the over-under. I was going to look it up, but I forgot if there was an over-under for Taylor Swift appearances on the first game. It's got to be 25, right? Like,
I think, and what you're looking for here is whether Jason Kelsey is going to be there. If we can
Mm.
confirm that, and he's gonna be in full mode. You talk about Napa Valley wine country, I could see him jumping just both feet with boots on into wine country in a big, big way, kinda spending the whole week out there, traveling up and down the coast, kinda his own version of tailgating, hitting up all these little wine spots, and I could see him coming in ready to go, lips all purple, just loving life, and then they've gotta show that, and if they show that, then
Yeah.
you're gonna have Taylor. All of a sudden, I think it's gonna be flipped. You're gonna have him as the main act, and Taylor's the secondary show here. She's the undercard all of a sudden.
I think that's what he was like, "You know what? I got this." Yeah.
Flip the
And,
script, my
there's no
friend.
way he's not there. Baltimore and Philadelphia are, like, a few hours apart from each other, so I guarantee you there's a Jason Kelsey appearance there on Sunday. Also, I have
So
a
so so
question, and since you're talking about Stump and to what he was saying, so does it kind of feel like the Browns are going to be reworking Chubb's 15 million guaranteed next year, because that's really about their biggest contract they can work with unless somebody else steps up, right? I mean, you got
say
that feeling if that's what he's talking, because he would know.
say that one more time?
Okay, so Chubb last
Yeah,
year they can get rid of all 15 million next year on his guaranteed contract if they get rid of him or rework it. So
yeah.
they can free up 16 million by not retaining Nick Chubb. But everyone, obviously, you want Nick Chubb. So it sounds like they're probably going to try to work that one out then if he's talking with that confidence of incorporating him in the passing game and everything like that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I tell you what, when I did talk to Stump, there was a little bit of a hesitation there. I mean, I don't think that anything's guaranteed when it comes to Nick Chubb. I know no one wants to hear that right now, but it's not guaranteed that he's coming back next year necessarily. And I think, one of the things that he said is just like all of us kind of know and have suspected is the Cleveland Browns are all about analytics and analytics on older running backs coming back from injury aren't going to be kind in this case.
Yeah.
Now, that's not saying that I want to get rid of him. I don't want that
No,
because I
I feel
want
like
him back.
sometimes though you got to make an occasional executive fan base decision though.
And I tell you what, he's a guy, he's a heart and soul. He needs to come back. I would be devastated if he wasn't a Cleveland Brown next year. But it'll be interesting to see how the organization handles it. And also, it's going to take Nick Chubb's side as well. I mean, both sides are going to have to come to an agreement here. Nick Chubb's got to say, hey, okay, I understand. I really want to be in Cleveland. I know what it's going to take. I want to have a team around me. So I'm willing to make some sacrifices here to make that happen. So that there's going to be a little bit on his side of the table, too.
Yeah, there's going to be God. The Browns got so many choices, man, and at some point you got to pay the piper on Watson. You can't keep kicking the can down that road. You got 3 years left on that. At some point, you got to start getting that tab paid down a little bit so you have potential options just in case if you would need them. But hey, enjoy Championship Sunday. Enjoy the nice weekend. We're gonna have some rainy weather, but warmer weather. So hopefully you do if you got a grill fired up, make some good burgers for the game. You know what I mean? And looking forward to talking. We won't see us next week because Super Bowl week. Everybody gets a break on Super Bowl week in podcast world. That you heard it here first. So we won't be doing it next week, but the week after that, we're going to go over the Super Bowl matchup, and also we're going to pick about 10 fun prop bets, and we're going to go back and forth on those. This nice little half-hour show like we always do here. As always, Chris, thank you
Now
so
wait a
much.
second
Yeah,
before we sign
yeah,
off here.
yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
is
We are tied. We are tied. We are tied. Don't let me send it off yet.
that's right. So first of all, this is a little cliched, but I still think it's very much on brand that for the Super Bowl, we do have to at least talk about food too. You got to talk about what you do for something like a Super Bowl, what you do for big events, what kind of appetizers, what are you grilling, what are you doing? Because I would be very interested because I'm a novice. I think I'm like a lot of people in the audience who might not necessarily, be the grill master that you are and be the excellent host that you are. So I would appreciate if you could share some of your tips. On my other show, we've had Michael Simon on in the past. So we're lucky to
Oh,
have guys
my
like that and guys like you who really know this stuff, who can add that so that when I'm at my Super Bowl party, I could suggest, even if we don't have that food there, I can be like that guy, like, what Tony was suggesting is this would be really good so that it appears next year on the menu. See, I play the long game with this stuff. I don't actually want to make it myself. I figure if I play the long game with it, I just kind of plant that seed this year. Next year's Super Bowl is going to be magical. So you can help us out with that next week or the following week, I guess.
I'm down for it. So you want some tips here on what we can do? And I'll tell you what, we'll take a step further. We'll have some videos of some epic tailgate food that we find along the way. So we'll get a little highlight clip. And of course, maybe I'll have a little video to debut that weekend too for some Super Bowl. So maybe we'll make it a Tony tailgate debut live on our Super Bowl spectacular, as well as all the cooking tips. I'm down for it. Let's do it.
And second of all,
Oh,
I've got
God.
what we can put on the line for this, for our little
Okay.
ongoing bet. Where right now, currently, we are tied as we come into the divisional round. I'm thinking we do a home and home here. So if you win, then I want you to come down to my hometown of Granville. We're going to have a grill out here. We're going to grill out
Okay.
whatever, we do particularly good ribs down here. And so I'd like to
Ooh.
invite you down for some ribs. We do that as a home date this summer. If I win, then we've got to go up to your place and you're going to cook for me and my kids. And we're going to have a tailgate or a barbecue up there. I think that'd be a good one to put on the line. Do an old
I'm down for it.
school home and home kind of Big Ten style here.
Yeah, I'm down for it. Home and home. It's on. I mean,
All
it's
right,
on. I mean,
let's go.
we're obviously going to be tied going into the Super Bowl, and we don't want to have just one pick. So we'll throw in an odd number of prop picks. Well, hopefully we
That'll
just pick
settle it.
enough. I
That'll
don't know.
settle
We'll have the total points,
And
I
look
guess.
at this. No matter what happens, let me just tell you this, Tony. No matter what happens, look what I got for you right here. You may not have gotten them. Yeah, you may not have gotten them when you were playing kitty soccer or kitty t-ball or whatever, but I've got a participant ribbon right here that is ready for you. So there you go, man.
I don't even know
Ask
what.
and
I don't
you
even know where to
shall
start.
receive.
I don't even know. I don't even know, man.
I don't want to see you left out.
This is the happiest day of my life, Mom. Meatloaf, and I made it. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the actions. Bet smartly. Drink responsibly. And when you do drink, make sure it's a cold garage beer. Check out Reflog on the Big Play Mondays on the Big Play Network and also on Valley Great Lakes Sports Network. Great dude. Great stuff. And laugh your ass off by following along with his